buying hunting land can be one of the best investments you ever make, but it can be the worst if you make any one of these critical mistakes I'm going to cover in this video. So let's dive in. Now, making mistakes is all part of life. So I'm not saying you're going to be able to avoid all mistakes, and avoiding all mistakes is the right path. I think mistakes is actually how you learn and come up with your own really good ideas. But if you can avoid some of these big mistakes, you're just going to be set up for that much more success. And that's what I'm hoping to give today in this video, is helping you manage some risk and get yourself into some awesome hunting ground. And so here we go. We are working on some land projects today. I'm on a piece of land here that we are working on developing for hunting, but also living. And gonna go pick up pieces of equipment that I've got scattered around right now. We got the mower. We're gonna do some cutting here soon. First mistake, you're just not looking in the right areas, not doing the right research. It comes down to the location. And with that, it's the location is desirable or other people would like to buy that area. That's actually a really key part to buying a good piece of land, hunting land in general, because you got to think future, not just now. And another piece of that location, the location of the neighborhood. Is it actually the right neighborhood? Is there good quality bucks there? Is there a deer population? Are the neighbors habitat managers, or do you have a lot of neighbors that shoot way too many deer? Those are the types of things you need to start considering and thinking about. And then also just that, having that other location piece is that 30,000 foot view. What is the surroundings of that area? Do you have other habitat that supports your property? What's adjacent? What's going to affect based off of your surroundings in all of the money and time and the work you're planning to do to your first property or properties down the road? So location, and doing the right research and doing it. Over leveraging yourself is the second mistake. And that comes down to just knowing your numbers, what you can actually afford, not having a bank tell you what you can afford, not having a real estate agent tell you what you can afford and what prices you should buy at. You really got to come down to knowing your numbers, and that is just an absolute critical thing to have dialed. So I'm going to talk a lot more about finances, knowing your numbers and all that kind of stuff for buying land and just living in general. So more to come there, but on to mistake number 3. Number 3 is just not having a vision. So many people go through life pursuing things that they just don't have that clear vision, or, buying land is such a huge investment. Like, not having that clear defined path, that carrot off in the distance, and what that is, that can just be such a big miss. So consider that, like actually just writing down very clearly what you want. And what I mean by this is essentially, okay, let's say like your first piece of hunting land, it's just going to be so hard to put a specific feature, like let's say water on it. Now, if that's a critical thing you want to have on your property, but you don't want to have to try to add that, like that could be huge costs. So writing that in, like saying like that first property's got to have a little bit of a water feature, and that can mean like a ditch or a pond, maybe a little slough that's already there. Can be a river or lake, and that's great too, but some of those smaller water features are awesome. Now, having that written down, you can then, rather than be focused on like, I gotta have the most acres, you can start smaller. You can say, well, this 10, 20 acre piece of land has got this little pond on it. Well, that's perfect. That's gonna make this a successful buy. And rather than like, I'm gonna buy this 150 acres, it's gonna be so much better because it's got more land, but think about all those things you need to add to it and what you want on it. So define your vision and like dive in. You're a little off on that vision. 1 year, you're a little off. 5 years, you're way off. And you're not going to have this perfect, but writing it down is going to save you a lot of money. Fourth big mistake to avoid now is we got to redo number 4. Audio cut out on me. Did not turn out very good. So number 4 is really not understanding the access, the easements, and other encumbrances and how things impact the property that may be not under your control. And those things can be like utility easements. They can be access or easements for other people to access their properties on the other side of your property. It can be your access into your property that goes through other people's properties. It can be so many different things, but those can be devastating in the overall enjoyment of your property. And you don't want to do all kinds of work, and then you got the guy that comes, let's say you have the property on the front part of the road, and there's another 40 behind you, and there happens to be an easement going through your property that you knew about, but you're like, whatever, and here you go, first day of hunting season, you're ready to enjoy the hunt, and here comes ding-a-ling, 8 a.m. in a 4-wheeler cutting right through your hunt. So there's interesting things with this that you shouldn't necessarily be afraid of, but really understanding, because you can use these to your advantage. So it's just really knowing where they are, how they're being used, how you handle it, how you handle the whole situations, because you can work with those landowners. It's not the end all. So those actually can turn into really cool opportunities to add value, to add better enjoyment on your property, but be aware of how other people, other encumbrances and things that are going to impact your property positively and negatively. This 5th one I got for you is this one I'm very passionate about, but this can really affect long-term value of a property, the sale, the values, the enjoyment. The enjoyment, probably the biggest part of it, is government programs, and really understanding them fully and doing your own research on them, because they usually run with the land. It's not something that just dies when that seller trades hands and you're the new buyer and that program just disappears. I haven't seen many that ever have done that, so be very careful on if you're even told that. I would 100% dig into that on your own. Don't just trust an agent. Yeah, you want to have a good partner and somebody that understands land and programs and all that kind of stuff. I think that's super helpful. Like, I definitely don't know everything about government programs. They can be very sneaky and very devastating. Really, government programs benefiting you? Very few. That's all I have to say. Be careful. Now, there's so many things in this box, Pandora's box, because I think there's a lot of things that might seem awesome within it. Like, you can make a lot of money by putting it into a program, or maybe receiving annual payments, certain things of that nature. But really know the different types of government programs. And before you ever buy land with a government program, or buy land and want to put a government program on it, I mean, this needs to be talked through with an outside party, not you and that government agency. So whether that's a real estate agent that specializes in hunting land, or different people that improve land managers like myself and others out there, really get some other input and thoughts on that, because they're usually long-term or forever. I've been doing real estate for quite a few years now. I've seen a lot of horror stories with people not even understanding what they bought and had these forever easements on them, these government programs, and you just can't get them out, and it makes it hard to sell it. You lose value in the property. Your appreciation over a long period is not very good. Basically, a lot of those things they're taking the value out in the beginning, so it's a rough one, and you need to really fully understand those and do your own research. I would also argue that a lot of these programs and projects they're doing to the properties through these easements don't actually benefit the wildlife as much as you think, hope, and are told. Some really decent programs are CRP, so the Conservation Reserve programs. Basically, you're reclaiming farmland into places that can't be farmed for a contractual amount of time, usually like 15 years. There's different amounts of time as well. But those, you actually get like annual payments, and those can come out of the programs at some point. So those I have used. I've been a part of them. They're actually very beneficial in some regards. But it's always good to work with somebody that kind of understands them and how that plays into your property and your overall goals. Kind of think future on those too. The number 6 mistake to avoid is making sure you're doing that due diligence. Sometimes the due diligence is done, like the title work, doing the title commitment, trying to dig into the past of the property and what the property has. Well, I've seen people where they just skim over it, avoid dealing with stuff that comes up, or just not really utilizing the title commitment and title search to the full positive use. Just not really taking advantage of doing that work. So what I mean is, like, when you do that title commitment, they are finding things about the property. You might get a laundry list of things, and it's your opportunity to dig into the things you don't understand. So if you don't understand one of the line items that they found on the property, ask the questions, seek help, make sure you understand it, and don't skim over it. It is not worth it. Last but not least, on the mistakes list to avoid is when you're looking for properties, you're just looking in one spot. You're on realtor.com or Zillow, or you've even just hired an agent and you've set it idle. Well, just having that one way to find that property is a big mistake. I think you need to get boots on the ground. You need to think different, and you really need to be active in the pursuit of finding good hunting land. And you've clearly defined your vision and what you want and how you can afford it, and you know you can afford it. Well, heck, keep doing the work and go find you your piece of hunting ground. It can be off market, it can be on market, it could be through letters, could be through agents, could be so many different ways. But you can only blame yourself if you're not doing the work to go find it. So, hope that has helped you. If you can avoid some or even all of these major mistakes in buying hunting land, well, you are going to be set up for success. And again, don't let mistakes stop you, because you're going to make a mistake. It's just going to happen. So go after it. Do some homework. See you on the land. I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you got something out of it. If you've made one of these mistakes, let me know. If there's other mistakes you've made, leave a comment down. I'd love to hear them. And really, if we share these things and help others, it's only going to make it better. So more videos to come. Watch this next one. All right.